Somehow over the month of December, I somehow magically accumulated over 20 new books, and I think it was a combination of it being my birthday, Christmas, and my local Barnes & Noble having a huge sale because they're moving locations and they needed to clean out the entire store, so I may have went a little crazy. But I have over 20 new books to share with you guys, and this isn't even like the book haul accumulated over the whole time I was gone. No, this is just from December. And now we're like on a ban because this is ridiculous, but I have over 20 books to share with you guys, and I'm really excited about so many of them. So I'm gonna get right into it. I decided to set up an Amazon storefront for you guys. So down below, you can click on my storefront and there's gonna be a list of every single book from this video, just all in one easy place. If you also wanna purchase any of these, I thought that might be helpful. Let me know if it is. But let's just get into these books because I'm scared this is actually going to be the longest video of all time if I don't just start. So obviously it was just Christmas. I asked for a lot of books because there really wasn't much else I wanted. So my mom and my dad really pulled through for me. So I gave them a list. They got me exactly what I asked for on the list. It was pretty good. So I really picked all of these out, but thank you to my parents for buying them. First off, I got 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid's books. I'm really excited to like branch into Taylor Jenkins Reid because everybody's obviously obsessed with like The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Daisy Jones and the Six, all her other novels. Like everybody loves them. I have not read any of them yet. So I'm kind of trying to get my hands on all of them and then do like a big binge of all of her books because I just think I will like them. So the 2 books that I got are After I Do, and I also love these new covers that she has. I think they're very gorgeous, and Maybe in Another Life. So both of these look really fun. I think that Taylor's books are not just really romances, but they kind of delve into like an all-encompassing human experience, and they're kind of beyond just like a typical romance that I would usually read, so that's really exciting. This one, I believe, follows a girl who is married and her and her husband decide to spend a year apart, and this kind of like follows that journey. And this one, I think, follows a girl who's like a 20-something, and she decides to see like different ways that her life could go, different paths that she can follow, and it kind of shows the different paths. So that's like very brief, but I think they both sound really good. I'm excited for both of them. And like I said, these new covers are very fabulous to me. Next is Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood. I know Ali Hazelwood had The Love Hypothesis, which was like a very viral book, come out, and that one I still haven't read either, but I decided to pick up this one as well because I feel like her books just sound very endearing and everybody says they're great. I believe that the 2 main characters in this are scientists and they fall in love and it's like enemies to lovers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it sounds really good. I think this is very cute also. I'm not sure how I feel on the cartoon covers, but I do think that the Ali Hazelwood ones are very cute, so I'm excited for that one. Next up is The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. Weirdly enough, the quote is from Ali Hazelwood. This one, people have probably been talking about it. I just saw it online and I thought that it sounded really good. It follows a girl who is a ghostwriter for romance books, and then I guess she ends up going through like a harrowing breakup and it makes her not believe in love, and I'm sure she ends up falling in love with somebody new, and that's kind of what this story is. So I'm very excited about it. I think that sounds like a great plot. Definitely let me know if you've read this one because like I said, I just randomly came across it and I was like, yeah, but I think people probably enjoy it. I mean, it looks like it'll be good. Next up, I have Writers and Lovers by Lily King. This one I actually have heard like a ton of people talk about. I even brought it up to my grandmother and she was like, oh yeah, that's currently what I'm reading on my Kindle. Like, give it to her to be reading something before me. But this one, I believe, follows a girl who is going through a lot in her life, lots of trauma. I think somebody dies in, yeah, her mother ends up dying in a car crash. She breaks up with her long-term boyfriend and she decides to like move and start this new life, and this kind of explores that life that she's living. I've just heard it's really, really amazing. I don't know too much about it, but I definitely have seen a lot of rave around this book, so I'm super excited to read it. Okay, and the last book by my parents is kind of random, but I've been wanting this book for so long and it's always been on my list, but it's just a very expensive book that I didn't want to buy myself, so my parents got it for me. This was actually a birthday present, not Christmas. My birthday is the week of Christmas. Anywho, the book is this. It is the Ladybird movie script, which is written by Greta Gerwig. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. I've watched it a million times. It's just very special to me. I love Saoirse Ronan. She's like my favorite actress. And I've wanted this for forever because it's the full script from the movie. So like even like possibly scenes that, you know, didn't make the cut, or just like to read this and see like the different choices that the actors made, I think is just so cool. There's also pictures in here, like, let me find, like there's Timothée Chalamet. He's in this movie. Yeah, it's really, really cool. So I haven't gotten a chance to like read through this yet, but I really want to like follow along with it while I watch the movie. That's probably like dorky, but I'm just super excited to have this. Like I said, this book is actually only available on the A24 website, so it's kind of a random one. It's not like you can just get it at the store, but I'm so happy to have this and I cannot wait to look into it more. But this was definitely a super special birthday gift. Speaking of birthday gifts, for my birthday, my boyfriend took me to Barnes & Noble and he was like, go crazy, get whatever you want, which is like a book lover's dream, obviously. So I got 5 books from Barnes & Noble on my birthday that I picked out myself. A lot of them have been on my wish list, so I'm super excited about these titles. The first one is Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. Having the last name Slaughter and being a thriller writer just feels very meant to be. I wonder if that's her real name. But this book I found out about after I read Verity by Colleen Hoover, and people were like telling me, because I was like, I don't know, this doesn't really feel that scary. Like, I enjoyed the thrilling aspect of the novel, but I didn't feel like actually freaked out or scared while reading it. And people were like, you should read Pretty Girls by Karen Slaughter. It's actually really good and has kind of some similar themes to Verity. I'm not sure how closely related the plots are, but I've just heard that this is a really amazing thriller. I think it's about sisters. So I don't know. I'm really excited to read this. Found it at Barnes & Noble. Very cool. So cannot wait for that one. Another thriller that was on my radar is The Paris Apartment by Lucy Foley. Lucy Foley wrote The Guest List, which is another very famous thriller I know a lot of people really love. So this one, it's just like a similar thriller plot about people that live in an apartment and there's like crimes going on or something. Let me know if you know like an actual synopsis, but I did want to purchase this one. I've heard really great things about it so far, and I'm trying to get more into thrillers. I'm trying to just like expand my horizons. Obviously, romance is always going to be like my tried and true genre, but I feel like reading other random things here and there is just like a little more stimulating for me, so I'm excited about that one. Speaking of expanding my horizons, I decided to pick up a nonfiction book. This is by Gabor Mate. Gabor Mate, I think that's how you say it. It's called The Myth of Normal. Gabor Mate is a doctor. I believe he mostly specializes in addiction. But this, it says trauma, illness, and healing in a toxic culture. You're gonna like laugh when I tell you where I found out about this book, but I heard Penn Badgley, who, if you don't know, he's like from Gossip Girl, I heard him talking about this on his podcast, and he was like, Gabor Mate's books are phenomenal. They're very insightful. So I was like, you know what? It's a huge book, as you can see, like humongous, very small font. But you know what? I am going to give myself the assignment of actually reading this year, seeing how I like it. They were like raving about it on the podcast, and I just feel like it does sound like an interesting read. This just isn't something I would usually ever gravitate towards. So if you've read this, tell me, convince me to pick it up. I'm definitely going to try, but it is a big, hefty book, but I thought it sounded interesting. You guys may or may not remember the Great Gilmore Girls incident of 2021 where I binge watched the whole show and just became utterly obsessed with it. It was like a whole moment. I like stopped filming for 2 months because I was too busy watching Gilmore Girls. Like I had priorities, obviously. And so Lauren Graham, who plays Lorelai Gilmore, came out with a new book. I think she's written more than 2 books, but this is her second one that's like more like autobiographical. Is that a word? I believe so. But it's just like short stories about her life. I really love Lauren Graham. Obviously, like she's the star of the show. And so I wanted this one. It's brand new, so I decided to pick it up. I still have to read her other one. I do have that. I think I got it for Christmas last year. So now we have both. I'll have to like binge them back to back. Okay, and the last book that my boyfriend bought for me for my birthday is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. You guys are probably going to be shocked to hear that I haven't actually like gotten into Emily Henry yet. I tried to read People We Meet on Vacation. Is that what it's called? I tried to read that last summer, and then I ruined the book because I was reading it on the beach and like the ocean came up, ruined my book. So then I got rid of it, and then now I haven't read it. So here we are, 2023. I've still never read an Emily Henry book, but I've heard this one is like a crowd favorite, so I wanted to get my hands on it. I'm going to read it, I promise. Tell me which one you think is your favorite of Emily Henry's. I know she has a couple that people really like, but I will read whatever you guys want. But this one I've just heard is really good, so I got my hands on this. So as I mentioned previously, my Barnes & Noble is moving locations, and they had like a huge 50% off sale. I show up, the place is ransacked. Like, there was literally slim pickings. Everything was kind of like moved into a few sections of the store and it was all picked over, so it wasn't like organized. You couldn't like view everything by author, but I managed to get in there and come out with a pretty hefty stack. So I want to share with you guys what those books are. The first one, if you know me, you're literally going to laugh out loud because why would I buy this? But I have my reason. I did buy this copy of Looking for Alaska, and showing this to you guys right now reminds me that like not all of you follow me on TikTok and know the amazing thing that happened to me last year. So just briefly, if you don't know, last year I made a video on my TikTok showing my Looking for Alaska collection, because if you guys know, like, it's been my favorite book for as long as I can remember, and so because of that I've just been collecting different versions of the book. Like, I have like the British one, a few different of the American ones, the one with the TV show cover. Like, I just had a lot to show. So I did a little video on my TikTok showing off my collection, thinking nothing of it, and then who leaves me a comment? John Green. And he tells me he's going to send me more books. So then a few weeks later, multiple packages arrived to my house from John Green, and he sent me so many copies of Looking for Alaska, all personalized and signed with special messages, books I've never even seen before, copies that he said other people never even have had. It was crazy. So if you want to see that TikTok, my TikTok's LovelyLikeLaura. So now I do have 22 copies of this book. However, in the chaos of my Barnes & Noble relocation, I was able to find this one last copy. And you're gonna think I'm crazy when I tell you this, but I don't have a copy that has like the red half page thing. So yes, this is different than my other 3 copies that I have that look exactly like this, but it felt like I had to rescue it from just like the sea of people swarming these bookshelves, so I decided to buy it. So yes, I have a lot of books that are the same, but I treasure each and every one of them, including this one. Next book that I found, I was actually very pleasantly surprised because I've never heard of this, but it sounded really good. It's called Satisfaction Guaranteed by Corellia Stes Waters. Sorry. This is a sapphic romance about a girl who inherits a sex shop. That sounds like it could go in a lot of directions that sound very fun and interesting to me. So I don't know, but it is a sapphic romance. You guys always ask for recs, and like, I'm the actual worst at finding really good sapphic romances. Like, I feel like I always come across them and they're just not what I'm looking for. Like, their writing style, whatever it is, it's just not something that I feel like I can recommend and truly be like, I loved this book. So I'm hoping that I will read this and it'll be one that I absolutely love and I can tell you guys. So let me know if you've read it. I'm really looking forward to it. Next, some of you are gonna laugh at me, but because this was half off and I've seen it at the bookstore a million times and I'm always like, should I buy that? Like, I'm never gonna read it, but I kind of want it. I bought it because it was half off. It is this. It is a Star Wars book. It's called Brotherhood. It's obviously about Anakin and Obi-Wan, by Mike Chen. I think this is like a fiction story kind of based off of like episode 2 era. If you guys don't know, huge Star Wars fan, and I'm especially like the biggest fan of the prequels, so I really wanted this. It also came with like a poster, so don't be shocked if you see it behind me in my next video, but I'm happy I could get this half off because it's like a really nice big hardcover, so it was kind of like a tie-up if I wanted to buy it, but because it was half off, we got it. These next 2 books are super random. Again, kind of books I only got because they were half off. I'm not a huge like cookbook lifestyle person, but I am a big Drew Barrymore fan. So this is her food, family, and life book. It's recipes, it's short stories about her. It's a lot of different things, pictures. I thought this would be fun just to like flip through. I really love Drew Barrymore. I think she's amazing. So I just decided to get that. And then this one I got is called Body Harmony, Nourishing Plant-Based Recipes for Intuitive Eating by Nicole Berry. I eat plant-based, and I, after being plant-based for 10 years, like run out of things to eat. So I thought this maybe would just be inspiring to like flip through and find ideas. So that's why I got it. Usually wouldn't purchase something like this, but again, 50% off, like, I went all out. Last book from the sale was actually a book I really, really wanted to get and I've heard is great, and it sounds like something that's right up my alley, and that is this beautiful book, Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. This book is gorgeous. I'm obsessed with this cover. I believe this follows a girl who's like running away from her life, and she like has a kid, or it's like her niece or something, and there's a guy in this new town that like doesn't really like her, and maybe it's like something like that. Tell me if you've read it, but it's huge. but I think I could do this. Like, I'm gonna read this soon. I'm really excited about the plot. And I think there's either like a sequel or like a follow-up. I'm not quite sure, but there's another book that's like pink that looks exactly like this. So let me know what you know in a comment below. I can't believe I still have like a huge stack. Like, we're still going. Next book I got was actually gifted to me from my boyfriend's mom, who read it and was like, I want you to read it. It's Luckiest Girl Alive by Jessica Knoll. I know this was made into a movie with Mila Kunis, and a lot of people said that it was like super triggering and dark and crazy. Which I feel like I can definitely withstand, so I will try to read this book, but I've heard it is very dark. I feel like I will be in for a wild ride. My boyfriend's mom said that she really liked it and she like could not put it down, like it was a massive page turner. But I believe it has to do with like a girl that goes through some very traumatic things and kind of her journey. So I will be picking that up. Another super random one, but I have this copy of 1984 by George Orwell my dad bought for me, and he was just like, I want you to read this because it's like one of his favorite books. I've never read it. I never had to read it in school. I read Animal Farm, but never 1984. So he got this for me just on the basis of wanting me to read it, which I can respect. I got a few books sent to me by Valentine PR while I was away from you guys, so I just want to briefly share those with you. First one is a hefty book, and I've seen this online and heard people say really great things. It's called A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. Monica Murphy is an author who I've seen a lot of different places, but I've never read from. So this is one that I'm super excited about because I've just heard people talk about it. Like, this cover is very recognizable in my brain. So I do want to pick this one up. Along with that, I was given this book by Monica Murphy as well, Close to Me, which I believe is like a sports romance. So I will definitely be reading both. I don't really know the plot of this one, but I will be checking both of these out. I'm very excited about them. So thank you, Valentine PR. They also sent me a couple more books. Blame It on the Champagne by Fiona Cole. I know this is a part of a series. I don't know if it's the first one or if there's other ones, because I think she's Blame It on the Alcohol, Blame It on the Champagne. I'm not sure. I haven't read this series from her, but her Voyeur series is like one of my all-time favorite series, romance series. So I'm sure I will love this when I give it a chance, but I do want to make sure I'm reading them in the right order, so I'm gonna have to look that up. Last book sent to me by Valentine is 10 Tiny Breaths by K.A. Tucker. I actually already have this, so I'm planning on gifting it to somebody, but I haven't read it. I've had a copy of this book forever. I love K.A. Tucker. I've read many of her books and I think that they're fantastic, but this is just one that I have not read yet. But I think it's about a girl who is in a car accident and then something happens and it's like her life after that. So I'll be reading that. Okay, the last 3 books I actually didn't get in December, but I just wanted to share with you guys that I bought them. First one, because I know a lot of you are going to ask if I've read this yet. It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. I have not read it yet. I'm going to, but I low-key feel like I need to reread It Ends With Us because I read it when it came out in 2015 or whatever, so it's been a long time. So I do want to give myself a little refresh, reread that, and then dive straight into this. I've heard mixed things. Can you guys tell me what you thought? I've heard people say it was okay, and then I've heard people say they really love it, and I've heard people say they felt like it didn't need a sequel and this kind of wasn't needed. So let me know your thoughts. I was sent an ARC of this book and I know it's already out, but I think the premise sounds really interesting. It's called The Counselors by Jessica Goodman. Jessica Goodman wrote another book that I believe is being put into a TV show by Sydney Sweeney, and like Halsey's gonna be in it. I don't know if you guys remember that whole thing. I don't know the progress on all of that, but this is a thriller about best friends at a summer camp. It just sounds really fun. And like I said, you guys, I'm trying to get into more thrillers, so I do really want to read this, but I wanted to mention it even though I received it a few months ago, because I want to know if any of you guys have read this one. So let me know. This is a YA book as opposed to most of these being adult or, you know, new adult romance. So let me know. Last book on my list is Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. This one, I believe, follows a girl who is interviewing this famous celebrity, and it's kind of like follows their interview or something, but I've heard that it's based on like a true story. My friend told me that like I think the guy is supposed to be like Chris Evans. Correct me if we're wrong, but if it is, I'm even more down to read it because I love Chris Evans. So let me know. I've heard, again, sort of mixed things, but I feel like that's most books. But I want to know what you guys think the most. So let me know if you've read this one. I'm excited about it. I think the cover is very cool. But anywho, those are all of the books that I've accumulated, mostly in December, but overall just other ones from the past year. I know it's a lot. I'm now officially not buying books for a very long time, but I'm super excited to get into some of these. I feel like I got kind of a fun arrangement of books, definitely romance heavy, but I feel like I picked up some other stuff that's really fun. So if you're interested in purchasing any of these books, as I said, I will have a link down below that has all of them on Amazon. So for easy access, if you want to go on there and purchase, go ahead and do so. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video and for all of the love on the last video that I posted. I really appreciated the warm welcome back to my channel, and I'm super excited to continue making videos for you guys. As I said, I just have so many fun ideas, so be on the lookout. I love you guys so much, and I will see you very, very soon in my next video. Bye.